All right, what is up? Welcome to Spoiler Kings. My name is Tank Kramer. I'm with Will. How you doing, man?
Doing great, man. Doing okay. How about you?
Yeah, not too bad. Pretty chill weekend. The weather's finally getting nice in Chicago. All that snow's melting, so good times. Now it's just dog mud prints everywhere now.
You know
You have
the.
to deal with it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly.
But yeah, man. So we were supposed to watch Studio 666, which is the Foo Fighter, Dave Grohl kind of scary movie kind of thing. But we weren't gonna go to the theater for it, and we were trying to see like are they streaming it anywhere and stuff, but they're not. And so we wind up changing it up a little bit. So now we're gonna do Kimi, which is a little bit older. I think it came out last week, 2 weeks ago, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I think it came out
Something like that.
25th, something like that.
Okay. So,
It was
but
kind of recent.
yeah, it's still pretty recent. But it was on HBO Max, so we were able to watch it at home, which for me was kind of a big thing. Because for sure, we're going to see Batman. I'm pretty sure you're going to see Batman in theaters. So,
Oh yeah,
yeah. So we're definitely. I'm going. Hopefully this weekend too. Already people are already reviewing it and stuff. So, yeah.
wild.
But that's next week. We're going to talk about the Batman. And then this week we're doing Kimi, starring Zoe Kravitz, who is also in the Batman. So
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
She's hot. She's red hot.
Yeah, she was in a few other things. I remember her in X-Men. She played like the fairy girl that was a stripper in First Class, I think.
So she's okay.
Yeah,
It's been a while.
I think she's in a few other things, but yeah, she's starting to really make her own now. You want to watch the trailer and you want to let us know what this movie's about?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool.
So, relatively short trailer. So this movie Kimi is about an agoraphobic, crazy word, agoraphobic tech worker. I'll tell you what that means in just a hot second. A tech worker that discovers a recorded evidence of a violent crime, but is met with resistance when she tries to report it. Seeking justice, she must now do the thing she fears most. She must leave her apartment. Now, with that being said, agoraphobic is someone that is like not into crowds, someone that is really really strict with not trying to go outside, which kind of explains at the end there. And I kind of get some vibes that she's a little bit OCD. She's kind of really enclosed and has a very strict routine. She never has anybody come to her house, really, not too much. And for the most part, she's dealt with a bit of trauma that's kind of caused her to be like this. I won't get into the trauma too much, but Kimi, the name of the movie, is actually referring to like an Alexa device. It's like a personal assistant, voice activated device. So you'd be like Kimi, and then the voice goes, "I'm here," and then you ask whatever you need it to do, and then it does it. So it's kind of placed in modern day or present day. You notice she has the mask under her chin, so I want to assume, it's not really said, but I want to assume that in the movie they're also going through a pandemic. And
yeah, I think they say COVID. I think they say COVID.
They did mention the word COVID. You're right.
I think so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's a very modern movie that takes a wild stab at like I wouldn't say horror, but like suspense, a dramatic suspense kind of movie, and it's cool. It's new. So that's what we deal with. And you see her running through the streets. That's when she's like, had it up to here. And she has no other choice but to go outside. Crazy world, right?
But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. It's just her facing her fears and trying to report this crime that she heard. But she said she's a tech a tech worker. So what her job is she listens to some of the recordings of the Kimi, of their their Echo or Alexa kind of thing. So she listens to it and fixes like problems. Like a quick example is somebody with a different kind of accent said kitchen towels, and Kimi didn't know what that meant. So she had to like go in like, oh, slang for, paper towels, stuff like that. So she had to listen to things and fix the problems. And then that's where she came across a disturbing kind of audio, which we'll get into in a little bit because, but yeah. So that's how she kind of gets it. And then it kind of just goes crazy from there. But let's get into some of the good stuff. What were some of the good stuff you liked about this one?
Ooh, so I like that we're incorporating modern topics, modern ideas in this movie. We use the whole Alexa type device. That's cool. Throwing that into a 2022 movie. Cast was decent. A lot of characters that I didn't really know. I knew, obviously, Zoe Kravitz. She's daughter of Lenny Kravitz. And also, I forget her name. Her mom was in
Lisa
Cosby Show. Lisa Kudrow?
No, Lisa Bonet. Lisa Monet.
Lisa Monet. There you go.
Who was dating what the hell's the other guy? Jason Momoa. They just broke up.
Was.
Yeah. So imagine that's your like, oh, my dad's Lenny Kravitz, my mom's Lisa Monet, and my stepdad is Jason Momoa. I was like, okay, what? So, but
yeah. Cool. Very cool background with her, right? We have Rita Wilson, who's like someone at her company that she tries to report this crime to. We got Erica Christensen, who's like she has very, very small role in this movie, but she's the one that she's the victim in the crime that's happening. I won't get into the spoilers just yet, excuse me. And it's not like the craziest spoiler if you know what it is, but but she's in there very briefly. I like her, and I know she can do amazing things when it comes to acting because I've seen her in a movie called Swim Fan. You ever see that movie?
I don't think I've seen that one.
Swim Fan. She can play a really crazy ex, or I don't even know what you would call it.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I've never seen the movie, but as soon as you say Crazy Ex and Swim Fan, I was like, I know what movie you're talking about.
Yeah. She's great in there. I love that movie. That movie came out when VHSs were still a thing. I rented it at Blockbuster. Yeah. And nice. I liked her in there. I wish she had a bigger role in this. I wish she would have done more. But as far as things that I liked, right? So cast was cool. I liked the fact that maybe I'm wrong, but our main protagonist, whose name is Angela Childs. Happy Monday. I think it's not said, but I think it's assumed. Maybe I'm just totally wrong. But if this is the case, then cool. Like, I think she's autistic, or maybe on the autism spectrum. She has a keychain of a puzzle piece.
Yeah.
I mean, that could mean a billion things, right? It doesn't have to necessarily mean that she's autistic, but just some of her mannerisms, some of the things that she does and how she acts, it kind of gave me a vibe that she was on the spectrum. And if that was the case, that's badass. That's cool because that just makes her that much cooler. That she's able to get out of her comfort zone, right? But still be a badass, work from home tech person. Yeah. Awesome. I could be totally wrong. Maybe she's not on the spectrum in this movie. I also liked the little bits of, I don't know if you would call it comedy, but there were some funny moments. You even mentioned it a little bit earlier. Yeah. The movie is about Kimi, the device, and Kimi is used many times in the movie, which is like, whoa, okay. Didn't expect that. I know the movie is more about the recording, but Kimi gets used to like save the day, if you will.
Yeah, that's true. It's kind of true. Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting. It was an interesting take on technology and how it could help us, right? I bet you if this movie really blows up and people really, really like it, this could maybe do numbers for Alexa and the Echo and all these other ones. The Google, what the hell's the Google one? I
Yeah,
don't even know.
Google Home. Hey, Google
Google
Home.
Home. There you go.
Yeah,
Like I think sales would probably get even better if this movie
yeah.
did really well. Um,
Well, I
anything
don't know. I
else?
mean,
Yeah.
real quick, like with that, I don't mean to cut you off.
Go
It
ahead.
also kind of hit a little bit on the bad side of it too. Was like they're like, "Oh, how'd you get my retina scan?" She goes, "Oh, it's in the terms of agreement." She's like, "No one reads that." Like, yeah, well, yeah, signed it. Now we got your eyeball. So it was a lot of
Yeah.
like stuff like that. So like it, which is one thing I liked was like it was able to like take this thing, which other times was funny because there's like
Mm.
certain times they'll say something and it kind of sounded like Kimmy, and you're like, "How can I help you?" It's like, "Shut up!" like, like I don't know if you have an Alexa at home. I'm like, it does that all the time.
I
So
don't. That's
no,
funny.
yeah, it'll say if there's something that sounds close to the word. Like I changed mine from Alexa to Echo. So if you say something that's around the same sound, it'll go off. I'm like, "Shut up!" like, stop listening. But yeah.
Mm,
So hello,
interesting.
guys.
Hey, Anna.
Go
Hello, hello. Thanks for tuning
hello.
in.
Yeah. So yeah. So that I thought that was kind of interesting that you brought that up because it does show the good, and the funny part of it, and then some of the bad stuff of it too, like what the
Mm,
corporations are doing with the info you get from it or the info they get from it. So kind of
yeah.
touched it all, which is good.
I guess another cool thing that I liked is the fact that the movie wasn't complex. It was very straightforward. It's not hard to get lost in this movie. So if you're not one to be like in your whole Inception type mindset, you don't want to get to that level, throw on this movie and you don't got to think too hard. um, just because like in the movie Kimi, you'll hear like that it's like an Alexa device, but instead of having like a regular AI that learns off of your likes and whatevers, like you said, you'll have analysts that will listen into the errors, so they say, the errors only that happen within these transmissions to and from the user to the device.
Mhm.
And so it's like, makes me think, what if I go ahead and buy an Alexa device, how often am I being listened to? Makes you think. Not think hard, but it does make you think. I still have yet to get one. I could have got like a free one if I'm not mistaken. Many times they always throw them out in these little
Yeah.
promotions and stuff. And I may get one after this movie. Maybe I might wait a little bit longer. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I like the hero in this movie. Is not only Kimmy, but it's like spoiler alert, it's a neighbor. um
Yeah.
but I just thought that was cool. And it was a neighbor that was kind of like Angela, the main protagonist. Uh the other hero, I'm not gonna get into it, is also someone that's pretty, what's that word again? Agoraphobic.
Agoraphobic. Yeah.
Yeah, someone that really stays home, and obviously because of the pandemic, but like they're not one to go outside and maybe are not the best with social interactions. I thought that was cool. That you have more than one kind of hero. That's it about the movie for me. Things that stood out to me and things that I liked. But what about you, Tank? What kind of stood out for you?
Um, a lot of the things that you liked, I enjoyed as well. Their interpretation of an Alexa, kind of thing. It's kind of cool. And they were trying to like, they even in the beginning of the movie was like, well, what makes a difference? And then that was things like, oh, it's actual humans, analyzing it, which I'm like, that doesn't make it better,
No.
So, you know, so so stuff like that. It was interesting. It was like very modern times, which it's kind of like stuff that I do like because you're able to relate to it, but then I kind of don't like it either because you're only able to relate to it now. In 5 years, people like, oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, we did that. I mean, that's what it's gonna be like. It's just that's how the world is. But
True.
I thought Zoe Kravitz was cool. Slightly annoying. I think her character was annoying, but I didn't think I saw the puzzle piece. I'm like, oh, maybe she's on the spectrum, like you said, and it kind of makes sense because like she was the agoraphobic, which is not technically. I don't think it's being considered on the spectrum because it's a whole separate thing. But the way she was acting to like people, where she was very blunt at times and very just straightforward. A lot of the other things, like the neighbor was working on the apartment upstairs, like redoing the floors and stuff like that, and she's like, you said between this time and this time, and those are like little things that people on the spectrum kind of tend to do, so very possibly. Plus the the little puzzle piece, I thought too, I was like, oh, maybe, so it was interesting, if that's the route they took with it. That was cool. Some of the other actors were pretty good. Rita Wilson was in it. She played like you said, this like HR kind of lady who you're supposed to report stuff to, but she seemed shady, like super shady. Most of these people in this movie seemed very shady, which is kind of like also talking to like, oh yeah, here's Amazon, and they're gonna put a speaker in the house for you. I mean, I got a bunch of them. I mean, but like it's helpful at times, but it's also like we're gonna listen to everything you say. So, it was kind of funny, certain parts of it that were like meant to be funny. There's other parts that weren't meant to be funny that I laughed at. But yeah, I mean, definitely I thought Zoe did a pretty good job. I didn't think she's just great like she did on like people, other reviewers, and we'll get into it a little later, are like she was amazing. I was like, that's pushing it. But yeah, I mean, everything you kind of said, I don't really need to repeat too much. So what about some of the bad stuff?
Some of the bad stuff.
I got a few.
There was one in particular. I realized that being enclosed in her apartment for so long, she may or may not know how the outside world is. Where locations are, whatnot. She tries to, report this, right, to multiple people, right? And one of the places that she tries to report it to, she tries to like GPS her way there. And you should have, first time, you being a tech person too, I feel like most tech people have photographic memory. Maybe that's just an assumption, but I feel like that's been the case for a lot of people that I've been around that are kind of like her. And she tries to go to this building, and she realizes that she's getting followed. So she's like, "Oh snap! Let me turn off my phone, right? That has a GPS of my location." So I'm like, "Oh, cool, smart, good job, Angela." And then later, or like immediately right after, people that were after her, right, to get this recording or the flash drive that she has with all these, evidence of the crime, it seemed like they remotely turned on her phone, which
Yeah,
I was like, huh?
Yeah.
and maybe you could do that. Maybe you could do that, right? But when they did, she got like a text or something. She didn't freak out. Like the normal thing when you turn off your phone and then you see your phone is on, I'd be like, oh shit, like how that happened. I start looking around. She didn't do any of that. She was just like, oh, phone's on. Oh, let me send a text to somebody real quick. And I was like, girl, what are you doing?
Yeah.
throw the phone away if that's the case. And she does. But that was just like an inconsistency that kind of threw me out the movie for like half a second. Something else that kind of that I didn't like about the movie. Let's see. Let me think for half a second. The bad guys, right?
God, yeah. Yeah.
You would think these bad guys that they've hired and they have access to all these tools and technology and whatever, they would have been prepared when going after her. So like, they didn't have what they needed to like strap her down or like to do what they needed to do to keep her enclosed. You should have had a team of at least 3 to 4 guys, right? To immobilize her. They came with a solid 2 guys, right? And not to say that the main protagonist, Angela, couldn't defend herself against two guys, but 2 against 1, the two should really win that fight. And they didn't.
Yeah.
Spoiler
Also, like
alert.
Zoe Kravitz, you can tell in this movie she's extremely small. Like
Yeah.
there's a part in it where you see some side boob, you know, there's a sex scene in it, and she's getting dressed, and I was like, Jesus, man, my arm is bigger than her. She is like so tiny. She's maybe 100 pounds. Maybe 100 pounds. I mean,
Wet.
she is
No.
a tiny person. And
Yeah.
two guys. And one of the guys looked like he was like 6'6" or something, you know, like big, tall, you know, goofy white guy.
Mhm.
And it was like, what? Like, so yeah.
They didn't have enough weapons. Just they weren't prepared. Let's just put it that way. The bad guys weren't prepared. And I know, right? You kind of have to give the main protagonist a chance, right? And that's usually the case with hero type films. But I don't know, man. It wasn't believable, in my opinion. The bad guys. And then oh man, just really let me down. I don't know if you know one of the bad guys. He was the brother from that old ass movie, Selena. He was like the brother of
No
Selena.
shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, you know what? Let me not assume. I want to say it's him. Was it him? What was his name?
It was Jacob Vargas.
Is that him?
I got it here. Where was he in? He was
If
in
he wasn't
Selena.
there, he was.
He was credited in Selena.
He should have been the brother.
See.
If it was the guy I'm thinking of, yes, it was. Anna is on the market.
It was Abby.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, so he was the
her
brother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yep.
Anna. And
yeah.
he has acting skills. So I don't think it like the disappointment is coming from his acting skills because I know what he can do. I think it was just bad writing of like what he was supposed to do, and he didn't capitalize on his skill, in my opinion. Just like I don't know, like you having a guy like that, and you have him be this clueless clown of a villain. Like, come on, that ruined it for me. Because you got to have a threatening bad guy, right? And he could have been threatening if maybe writing was better, or I don't know, maybe execution of what was trying to be done was better. But I don't want to give this movie such a bad rap, right? I'm not trying to do that, but just some things weren't believable. They didn't get too much into like her backstory, which they didn't need to, but they mentioned like Angela's mom, main character's mom. She had a few little snippets in the movie. And they didn't really mention her dad. I think they mentioned her dad passed away. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. And he was construction, which kind of plays into later. So, yeah.
Sorry, I'm laughing because every time I think of what you're talking about, right? Her using her construction type skills. I think of Zombieland. You know Zombieland?
Oh, yeah.
There's a rule in Zombieland where you double tap.
Yeah.
It wasn't meant to be funny, like how you said. Like I'm pretty sure. It made me laugh. It made me laugh. Because she followed that rule to a T.
Yeah. I mean, it was funny, but yeah, there was parts where I'm like, what? with that part in particular, because but yeah.
But that's it about for me. What about you?
One thing I didn't like, which is I'm laughing because it's funny, and I don't think it wasn't supposed to be funny. It wasn't supposed to be silly, and I felt it was silly in it. Like, so there's a part where Jacob Vargas, he's just considered the glasses thug. That's what he's credited for. He's a kind of a shorter man. There's a part he's running down the hall. And I'm like, what the fuck? He's Mexican Terminator because he's running like this, and he's like 5'3". I was like, that made me laugh so hard. I don't know why. Then he did the whole Daphne Scooby Doo thing. The glasses get fall, and he's like, "Where's my glasses?" So like, Jesus, man, you're like, if this is your line of work and you're blind without your glasses, then get some LASIKs or some shit.
Contact something. Anything else. True.
And then there's a bunch of other things. So there's a big chase scene in the movie. And both me and my girlfriend are like, why doesn't she close some doors? If she closed that door, they wouldn't know she went through that door. If she closed this door, they wouldn't be able to. I'm like, close the freaking doors behind you, you know? And then the whole time, so I said something and my girlfriend kind of like choke laughed, you know, from like she was drinking water. And I'm like, no, she's too busy Naruto running, you know? And she's like, I can't unsee it. And she was legit like running like that. Which is kind of like made me think it was like, I know a certain like autistic people do run like that with their arms kind of straight down and kind of like leaning forward. Not to be funny, it's just like because they don't know I don't say body mechanics, you know, just like, you know, like, you know, stuff like that. But
yeah,
you know, but it just like the way she was at certain times was kind of silly. But I was like, how are you so neurotic and so blind to everything around you at the same time? You know what I mean? So it's like that felt like very like she was so focused in on one thing that nothing else mattered around her, and that's how she got caught up. And then the way she got caught up was like some lady is like, hey, how are you? And then like she gets hit in the leg with a cane that like I guess like drugged her or something.
Yeah,
you know,
that was planned.
Like,
that was planned.
Yeah, but I'm like, where did those people come from? They're just random people, and then they give them back to the doofuses.
Well, they were part of their team, if you will. They weren't random. They're part of the bad guys.
I mean, you never saw the person with the cane, like, you know, that drugged her, and then the lady, you never saw the lady.
Not at all.
You know, besides that one time that she was just a distraction, but I thought that was silly. Yeah, I thought that was like silly. I'm like, that's how she's gonna get kidnapped. I was just like, again, when they're gonna take her back to her house and kill her, which I thought was kind of stupid. But I'm like, okay, whatever. Yeah. But then she gets away. You know, somebody comes in, helps her, and he gets in trouble. She gets away. If she would have closed the door behind her, they wouldn't gotten in. What the hell? And then she runs to her apartment. I'm like, you know, they know where you live. You know?
Yeah.
It was like very like goofy at times. And then like the whole ending part of it, I'm like, is she gonna home alone them? Is she legit gonna home alone them? And she did. And I'm like, are you serious? I mean, very violently home alone them, but she basically home alone them. And I was like, you're kidding me. Like, and then
she went there.
And then when she gets the guy who kind of helped and saved her, she's like, hey, I didn't get what your name was. And it was Kevin. I lost my shit. Because I'm like, is his last name McAllister too? Because what the fuck? You know, like we're doing this Home Alone. Are we doing it?
Oh my god.
There were parts where it was just, that was funny. And it wasn't supposed to be. And I was like, oh, come on. I mean, there was other parts that were funny, that were meant to be, like when she was on the Zoom call with her boss, I guess, was Andy Daly. And his kids in the background are like, you know, being super loud, and he keeps telling them like, shut up. You know, just like,
yeah,
that's funny because that's more like, you know, real life kind of stuff. You see a lot of that, but stuff like that, you know, I was like, you know, like she you know, rigs up a nail gun and starts to use it as a gun, you know, kills one of the thugs, and then goes after like the main head one, you know, and gets him. He has a gun. So instead of getting his gun, she just keeps using the nail gun. What? And then she's like shooting it. Yeah. And then she's like shooting it like across the entire like house, you know? Like she was standing in the kitchen, the dude's by the door, and he's like, bam, right in the neck. I'm like, really? Really?
Yeah.
And I was just like laughing. I was like, oh my God.
One shot too. She wasn't spamming it. She was just, gotcha.
Yeah. I'm like, when did she become like, you know, like a sniper and shit? So she went from being like afraid of leaving to like, you know, like ninja skills. So that was it was a lot of funny stuff, man. Like her Naruto running really kind of got me. That was kind of funny. I feel bad now because I'm like, if she was supposed to be autistic, like I get it. but it was a little distracting, like the way she was, because then it just stopped. That whole mannerism of how she was around just being outside, like all ended as soon as she was being chased. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe, but I don't know if that's how it is, if like it's how it's supposed to be. But and then her home aloneing the two goofy, and then again, a tall, goofy white guy, and then a shorter guy. And I'm like, is this real? Is this real? I was like, come on. And then the other dude's name is Kevin.
Oh,
I can't.
Do you know who he is? Do you know who he is? The Kevin guy.
Who? Kevin guy? No, I'm see. I got it. It says Devin.
No, you don't know who he is. He's. I mean, I'm not like getting at you about it, but he's the brother.
Oh my god! I just clicked on his picture. You're kidding me. Oh, I'm done. I'm done. You're kidding.
Yes.
Holy shit. Holy shit. Oh my god. Oh my god. That's awesome. That's awesome. So let me show this real quick. Oh my god. That's the best thing ever. I didn't even know.
He looks different. I'll give you that. Yeah,
he does, because there's some pictures where like here he gained some weight and he lost a lot of it, which is good for him. But yeah, he was the brother in Home Alone.
Yeah. I didn't realize till end of the movie when he said his name was Kevin. I'm like, Kevin. Why is there like a ringing in my head? Yeah, that's
hilarious, man. Oh my god! And then just all the Home Alone like things that just made me like. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't like crazy Home Alone where like she was like rigging the house, but just like getting like a normal kind of thing and rigging that and like like having him fall for little traps and stuff like that around the house. I was like, then I'm like, oh, his name is Kevin. No, it's his brother from Home Alone. That's so good. So good, dude. I didn't even know that. Yeah, that makes me happy.
That's funny.
That makes it even more funny. That even makes it more funny.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. So I don't know if that's supposed to be a good thing or a bad thing. I think it's not supposed to be. So and it went from being like it could be a very suspenseful movie to all right, and then by the end you're like, I'm just laughing. You got the little like Mexican Terminator guy like like running down this hallway. I was like, when you were chasing her, you like barely even knew how to run because they were like running down the server room. I'm like, why? And then that's when she was like Naruto running like down the server room, and then it goes to them and they're just like jogging. I'm like, run. So yeah, man, it was stuff like that just made me crack up, but which you're not supposed to crack up with stuff like this, but that was funny. No. That was funny. Dude, you just blew my mind. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Devin, it doesn't look like him.
Rattray. It doesn't.
It does not. It does not. And then when because I have the cast, I always have like the cast up on an extra tab, and I clicked on it. As soon as I clicked on it, his face popped up. I was like, dude, so good.
Oh my god.
Oh man. So let's get to our ratings for this one. Boom. So you want to let them know how we rate it?
Oh yeah. So over here at the Nerd Huddle, us two spoiler kings like to review movies a little bit differently. We don't use that 5-star rating system. We don't say anything that's cliche. We do our own thing. So down below, you'll see we have a 3-category type rating system. The movie is either a watch now, a watch later, or a watch never. A watch now means, hey, drop everything and go watch this movie ASAP because it's that good. Spend all your coin towards it. A watch later means, the movie was okay. You don't have to watch it right now. Maybe put it on the back burner. Watch it when it comes out streaming, HBO Max, which it was. And then a watch never means don't give your attention to this movie at all because it was that bad. Don't even spend a dime. Don't bootleg it. Don't do nothing. You shouldn't do that anyways. But yeah, it never is. Just don't do it. So with that being said, What do you think this movie falls under?
Oh man. I I'm really torn in between a later and a never. Um
Oh
the
man.
later because there were parts of it that were just so silly that it was kind of like funny. Um but I don't, it's not supposed to be, and it's almost a never because it didn't really do anything for me. I'm like, it didn't make me think, it didn't make me like appreciate anything. It made me poke fun at the movie, especially at the end, the third part of it, um so I'll probably go a never. I'll probably go a never with it.
Okay.
It wasn't the worst movie ever,
No.
but I just, if you can like watch something else while you're doing the dishes, I would probably watch something else. Like I
Yeah.
wouldn't waste my time with it. What about you, man? What are you giving it?
So for Kimi, 2022 movie, I'm gonna give this a later. Only for the fact that, like how you said, it kind of reminds you of Home Alone, a modern day Home Alone movie. Which who knows if they'll ever do like another one? There's like what 4 or 5 of them motherfuckers out there.
Yeah, they did another one, I think 2021, and it was horrible. That
Oh
came out on Disney
man,
Plus. That was bad. It was bad. Yeah, it was like Sweet Home Alone.
Oh god,
it was something that was bad. It was really bad. But yeah.
So for that, and then like you said, the movie indirectly made me laugh, so it gave some kind of entertainment for me. It's not a movie that you have to drop everything and go watch it right away. It's not that movie, and I don't think it's a movie that I wasted my time on. I feel like this is one of those kind of one and done kind of movies. You watch it one time, you appreciate it for what it is, which is not the greatest movie, but it's still something. And that's why I give it a later. It made me laugh. It had some cool throwback characters, and it made you think in a very simplistic way, and that was cool. They get an okay for me. So now that we got that over with, would you watch this? I already think I know the answer, but would you watch this again? I wouldn't.
Nah,
I wouldn't watch this again.
Yeah, it's not worth it. It's not. There's a bunch, especially on HBO. Watch Peacemaker again. I thought, watch Peacemaker again.
Yeah.
So yeah, Bel Air. Go watch Bel Air. It's on right now. It's like there's so much better stuff out right now that I think it's definitely not a watch again for me. Well, what about you? I think you already said it, but
yeah, I would not watch this again. There's nothing that I could really get clarity on in this movie. Like, there's no reason for me to watch this again. There's nothing that I missed, and if I did miss something, I don't care. And I say that as bluntly as Zoe Kravitz character would probably be. So yeah, I wouldn't watch it again.
Yeah.
What did Rotten Tomatoes think?
Oh boy. So this was very surprising. So on Rotten Tomatoes, the tomato meter, which is the critics, gave it a 94%. 94. Right. Yeah, that, which is insane. But the audience score gave it a 52. So that is, and I'm more in line with the audience. Like, it's definitely that lower kind of category of it. But I have no idea. Like, so you have like one guy saying proof once again that Strodenberg, the director, is both fantastic and delivering crisp, efficient work, but also he's better when he's given time to find a depth and surprise, which I was like, okay. There's a potent cocktail of mystery, phobia, and danger. And I'm like, not really. Yeah, I mean, Kimi is a high-tech update to Rear Window, which, yes, the Hitchcock himself would enjoy. No. It is. So Rear Window, even my girlfriend is like, oh, so it's like Rear Window, which is like one of the first, probably the first movie that the neighbor witnesses a murder, like, across the street and stuff like that. And the whole time it's like you see it everywhere now where like they make fun of it in cartoons and other movies and stuff like that. And this is kind of a newer version of that, but using Alexa instead of binoculars, which they also kind of nodded at it because Kevin, the neighbor, was kind of spying on her with binoculars. So, I threw a little credit over there. But people loved Zoe Kravitz. Loved her. I mean, people were like, a nifty thriller that handles tech surveillance and the internet much better than most films. I can kind of see a little bit of, they don't really touch on it that much because the tech part isn't the important part of it. That tech part has nothing to do with the movie. I think she questions it one time, and then that's it. But yeah, so the critics loved it for some reason.
Sus.
The audience did not. If you want to watch a terrible film you could talk about with friends and put them on. Kimi actually starts off really well, which I agree. Huge buildup and then trips during the big chase, which is the worst chase in cinema history, probably. It tries to build up again, attempting to escape, but just ends up one of the most unsatisfying conclusions, where she comedically confuses. I can't see the kidnappers. So yeah, she's basically saying, they home alone them. So. That one's in Spanish, so I don't know. Yeah, terrible basic plot with zero character development, which is kind of predictable. I don't want to say it was predictable because there's some parts I didn't quite predict it, but it was an hour and a half, so I feel like I didn't waste that much time. But it gave me a good laugh, gave me a few good chuckles, which was awesome. Oh man, but yeah, the Naruto running and the Home Alone stuff. You just telling me who Kevin was, that I still can't get over that, man. That blew my mind. So funny. That was awesome. That was awesome. But yeah, man, that's it for that one. Anything else?
Nah. If you want to watch something similar and done way better, maybe I would recommend watching Disturbia or the other movie that you mentioned, Rear Door. Would you say again?
Rear Window.
Rear Window.
It's a Hitchcock movie, so if you like good old school classic horror, that'll be it.
Definitely.
But, yeah. Disturbia I thought was much better. But cool. Yeah, that is it for Kimi there. So next week we're gonna do the Batman for sure. I think like every other movie review show. Brian might join us for that one because I know he's gonna watch it too. Sweet. And then we just finished up our Black Excellence in Cinema, so make sure you guys go back and check that out. We just did Fruitvale Station, which I never seen it before. That was my first time seeing it, and it was an amazing movie. And what else? We also got the Oscar reviews going on, where myself and Alfredo, and then we try to get some of you guys in as well, where we review all the Oscar Best Picture nominees leading up to the actual award ceremony, and we kind of talk about all that stuff. So be on the lookout for those, and a contest that's going to be coming out this week that is going to coincide with the Oscars. So you pick the winners, and whoever gets the most correct wins the prize.
Snap.
And anything else? Oh, and we are going to start doing our digital movie giveaways again. So be on the lookout for that. Make sure you are subbed and hit that bell notification so you know when the video comes up, and then you could win a digital movie.
Bless you.
But yeah, man, that is it from us.
Yes, sir.
That is it. So we will see you guys next week with The Batman. Cool. See you guys later.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. We out here.